All right. And so, let's turn this off. That's still a distraction. All right, are we tired of Fez Night yet? You don't have enough? From under the rock, under the cupboard, from under the rock, who likes the longer Fezes? Oh, the immigration thing. I want to talk about that. You know, the Democrats are moving closer to a sort of Republican-style immigration thing. But I think they're being a little bit cagey. I think it may be a good plan. But, you know, the right basically in Arizona, and it's set off a sort of ripple effect. It's getting a lot of people paying attention to the immigration issue. And obviously the way the law is written is that if you look other than white, you know, you're profiling. They suspect that you may be an alien. You can just stop somebody, you know, for whatever reason and ask for their papers. And what is it with these Republicans? See, they are fascists. Because you remember the old movies in fascist Germany or fascist Italy? Where are your papers? Where are your papers? All the checkpoints and everything? Where are the papers? It was a beautiful thing about the United States. You could travel from state to state and not have to show papers or birth certificate. Whereas in other of those fascist countries, and probably a lot of European countries, you just can't freely move about the way you can in the United States. And it's, but then again, there's a part of the right wing that hates the idea of having to show your papers. So there might be some sort of rift, and that's one of the Democratic plans is to impose a national ID, and the right hates that idea. I mean, you know, it's one step away from implanting a chip in us or receiving the mark of the beast on our hand or our forehead. And so, but there's part of me that says maybe we do need, you know, I mean, something a little bit beefier than the Social Security card. But the right hates that. So you can't have it both ways. It sounds okay when they're targeting people of color. You know, they're forgetting about all the Irish and Polish and German and English illegal immigrants. They're forgetting about them. People that are white, but they're not going to get profiled. All right. Let's save the best story for last. There's, you know, this time there's a lot of things that caught my eye. There's something that was interesting in the paper that I saw. There's a group that did some archaeological digs on, remember if you're American history, the Donner Party, the people that got stranded in some pass out here in the West, and they all froze to death. They got stranded, and the story was they resorted to cannibalism, but there's a scholar that's saying there is no evidence, at least on the dig that they did. There was, the bones they found were of small animals. There was no evidence of cannibalism. But of course they haven't, the Donner Party split up into different areas, so they haven't been able to examine every site. But it could be an example of how the media, I mean the newspapers in the day, latched onto a story. It sounded good. It sold papers, and they ran with it. You know, they talk about the corrupt media of today. It goes way back, you know, from the inception of the printing press to the days of Rome, is that you could spark a rumor and it spread like wildfire, essentially. I mean, a lot slower than today, you know, but it would spread by word of mouth, and word would get around. And sometimes they were true, and sometimes they were falsehoods. Never assume that the media is all lies. Come on, that's not realistic. But we have to learn to pick and choose. All right, so the big story, I don't know, the thing that I think is pretty interesting that brings in a lot of different issues is the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast of Louisiana. I think it's the Gulf. They call it the Gulf Coast. Must be the Gulf of Mexico, right? I'm terrible at geography, and because I'm an American. But there's just so much going on with this. There was a story in here, I heard it twice, that Halliburton was involved in the building of the rig. Let me see if I can find this picture of building the well, and there's some process. I mean, they kind of give an overview in the newspaper where they inject, liquid concrete into the hole and sort of create a wall inside the well. And then there's supposed to be some valves and things that are safety measures, that can keep the well from, if something goes wrong, they're supposed to be able to shut off the flow of oil. Well, Halliburton is the one that built that. And this goes back to, if some of you remember, except a lot of times people have short memories about, other administrations, but us liberals remember. When Bush was first elected, before 9/11, there was this infamous meeting, and they should have raised a bigger stink than they did, but you only heard cries on the left. And Cheney, and I guess Bush was there, they had a closed-door secret meeting with the energy companies. And one of the things that came out in this meeting was a relaxing of the regulations. Okay, this is deregulation, folks, okay? Where people assume the market will take care of itself. Those people, I think, are idiots, The only way the market adjusts itself is after bunch of people die. Regulations are supposed to prevent that. The market only recovers after the stock market crashes, without the deregulation to prevent it. It's just stupid. Children will die of lead poisoning before the toy companies, sales drop before they make a change. It's complete idiocy.